They're ready.
All right, hello, good evening, everyone. This is a fantastic turnout. As I look around the room, I see lots of faces that I know from the different things that I've done over the years, lots of parents, colleagues, and hopefully people that maybe I'll get to visit with and meet in the near future. So my name is Carissa Rollheiser. I am an early years community program designer for Swift Current, and I got the opportunity to meet and listen to Lane speak at the early years conference in Moose Jaw in the spring. And immediately when I had heard him speak, I thought, wow, if there's ever an opportunity that I could have him come to Swift Current, I have to take it. I just didn't think it would happen this quickly. So I think you're going to really enjoy this evening, and maybe he might come back and visit us in the future sometime. He grew up in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. He currently lives and has lived in Texas for the last 30 years. He's had a variety of roles over the years. Now, I'm going to go to my script. He told me this afternoon, he's like, oh, people in scripts. Yeah. And I'm like, well, geez, Lane, I have a script. So I actually haven't looked at it yet, but now I am.
Oh, good.
So he has worn different hats over the years, and these would include a teacher, pre-kindergarten and kindergarten, school administrator, district trainer, program director, and professor. His work has also allowed him to collaborate around the globe with people in Hong Kong, Vietnam, Mexico, and of course here in Canada. He currently works with District 10 in Texas as a master consultant in behavior and autism spectrum disorders. So we are honored to have him here with us tonight. Please join me in welcoming Lane to Swift Current.
Good evening. It's always good to be back home in Saskatchewan. What people don't realize is I actually make it home more than they think because my whole family's here. I was the only one in my family that decided to pick up and move to United States. And I tell people 32 years ago, I moved from Moose Jaw down to San Antonio, Texas to start my career. That's a long ways. That's a 42-hour car ride. And so it was interesting because, you know, I love coming back home. I've done a lot of things in my life in the 32 years, but I always tell people my favorite thing is getting to talk to parents. When I talk to you tonight, just so you know, I'm talking to you as a dad. I have two children. They are 31 and 30. And so those are my two. I had them very young, didn't know what I was doing at the time. And I tell people, what I'm going to give you tonight, some of the stuff I'm going to give you tonight is, if I was back raising my kids again, what is it I would want someone to tell me to do? And I always think of it that way. As a parent, we always do the best we can with where we're at the time we're in. That's it. And whether it's good or not sometimes, it doesn't matter. Because one of the things that I did sometimes, I'll be quite honest, is my daughter had a wonderful habit of driving me crazy every now and then. And I'm going to date myself. So I took Little Mermaid VHS tape and stuck it in the VCR and pushed play. So, as I tell people, sometimes we just do what we can do. Anybody remember VCRs? Do you remember Betamax? Oh, there's like two hands. That's awesome. 8-tracks, anybody? My dad still has one in the basement. I was actually playing it yesterday just to see if it still worked. That's the craziest thing ever. So, just so y'all know, I did start 32 years ago as a pre-K kindergarten teacher. I did special education. I was a vice principal. I was a SPED director, and I also worked in the juvenile jails with our incarcerated youth. When I went to San Antonio, Texas 32 years ago, I ended up teaching in the poorest district in the United States of America. And so we had all kinds of fun stuff. We had drug deals in our playgrounds. We had drive-by shootings weekly. Most of my kids were in gangs. The Mexican Mafia and the Latin Kings were the big ones. So that was the world I went from. Moose Jaw. There's no gangs in Moose Jaw, just a bunch of rowdy white kids on bikes. So I tell people it was a whole culture shock going down into this. One of my jobs when I was teaching pre-K is I got to the school early and we picked up all the drug needles and the burnt spoons before school started for our kids. And so I learned a lot being down there. I will tell you in the last 20 years, I've been fortunate enough to be doing brain research. So I've been involved in brain research around the world. The main areas are the United States, Vietnam, Mexico, and Hong Kong is where I've done most of them. And so what I bring to you is what we've found out about the human brain. I tell people the interesting part about it is we have to understand the human brain to understand the human being. And everybody's brain is different. And I love how we try to lump everybody in to do the same things, and it just doesn't work that way for a lot of us. I will tell you firsthand as I stand here, I am ADD like you wouldn't believe. Oh, but I tell people it's my superpower. The beautiful thing about ADD is I was never medicated. I learned how to work it and harness it, and it is incredible that I can pretty much watch everybody in here all at once, and I know exactly how you're feeling and what you're thinking. It's crazy. It's probably why I'm good at behavior. And so I tell people, I want to give you some things tonight. We're going to talk quickly about behavior and what I would like all parents to kind of understand when it comes to behavior with your children. What we as parents need to do. I'll talk a little bit about the latest research in autism. And then the whole last part is just what can we all do for our kids every day to help their brains get stronger. Parents, it doesn't cost a dime. That's the beautiful thing about it. To make your child's brain stronger, to get their focus back, to get their attention in, or get the things they need, it's free. It's just what we do and how we do it and when we do it. And sometimes what we're doing, I'll tell you one thing we are going to talk about today, which really kind of makes some people uncomfortable, is this thing called technology. And I'm going to just be able to hang on for it because I'm going to give you the latest on this stuff and what we need to be looking at. And so these are things that I'm going to share with you today. And here's hoping this thing starts. I've used it quite a bit. Here's one of my favorite quotes and what I like to tell everybody. It isn't our job to be the cool parent. You shouldn't be out there looking to be the cool parent, the parent that all the other kids want to come to your house for. That's the parent I want to be. No. That is not the parent you want to be. You want to be make them a good human being parent. I want to know. I tell people, I do not care if your child is on the A honor roll. I care that they're a good human being to other kids. I tell people it's funny how we focus so much on grades, especially in school, we forget there's a person behind there that we need to make a good person. And sometimes it doesn't mean you get straight A's. I did not get straight A's. I actually failed some things. I'm okay. But it's also about how do we raise them up to be good to others and take care of each other and help each other. And so I will share this with you. The first 5 years will last forever. So the first 5 years, from birth to age 5, what we do as parents will last forever. I tell people, research shows, parents, even me being a reader, even me being literate, having good literacy skills, you realize parents from birth to age 5, you play more of a factor on whether I'm going to read than schools could ever do. And what it is you want books, you want print, you want text, you want everything. You have to get them to love this stuff. You got to get them to love. How many of you read cereal boxes? Yes! You ever get mad? How many of you have siblings? And they finished the puzzles before you did? Yes! And so I tell people, it isn't just that, it's also behavior. What happens in the first 5 years of my life is going to dictate a lot about my behavior. You want to hear some cool brain research? Just came out about 5 months ago. The more a child plays from birth to age 6, the better their behavior and social emotional outcomes are for the rest of their life. But it's about play, not technology play, play. So the more I play from birth to 6, the better my behavior and social emotional skills are going to be the rest of my life. That's awesome, isn't it? And so I tell people it's fascinating what we're finding out. So I give parents this idea. You ever hear this wet cement idea? So to help you understand what's happening with your kids' brains, do you realize from birth to age 5, they are creating 1 million new neurons or neural connections every second of their life. 1 million every second. That's how busy this brain is. Picture this brain as wet cement or wet Play-Doh or new Play-Doh. Everything you do as a parent gets imprinted into that cement. Problem is, if whatever's getting imprinted isn't a good imprint, eventually as they get older, that cement starts to dry and harden. And if that imprint isn't a good imprint, then as I get older, to change that imprint, think about the work it takes. I got to chisel that imprint out and get rid of it, and then I got to get some new stuff laid in there. And that's a lot of extra work. rather than just we do it when they're young. And so those are the things to think about as parents too. They are actually watching us. You're going to learn something about mirror neurons. Have you heard of these before? Mirror neurons are fascinating, especially from birth to age 9. Birth to age 9, their mirror neurons are literally that. Picture that everything you do, you got a mirror holding up in front of you. Everything you do, their brain pulls in exactly what you're doing, and that's what they're pulling in for their life. Parents, this is us. I know, you're all thinking, oh God, what have I done this week? I know, make the list. So it's interesting when we look at it. Yeah, I know, I had to pause for a few minutes too. I'm thinking, my kids are old enough now that they can get their own therapy. But anyway, so here's our time together. I will share with you. I've been in the States long enough. I keep forgetting there's a U in words up in Canada. So I did my best to make sure I got a U put in for behavior, wherever it is. If you find one that doesn't have it, just humor me. It's the American version. I can translate for you. So this is kind of our day together, our night together. I will tell you, though, I'm big on play. And I'm big on play for adults. My adults in here, I'm going to share stuff about your brains tonight, too. All of my grown adults in here, age 19 and up, the more you play, the better your brain gets maintained for the rest of your life. You got to keep playing, my adults and parents in here. And I tell people, you got to keep going. We got to do a lot of things to take care of our brains as we get older. Do you realize that? As we get older, it's actually a fallacy that your brain should get weaker. As we get older, parts of your brain shrink. But your brain does not get weaker unless you let it. I tell people the fascinating thing is we now know that if we take care of our brains, take care of ourselves, do what we're supposed to do, the day we pass away is the day our brain should be the strongest it's ever been in our lifetime. Isn't that fascinating? We know this, and we know that any damage done to our brain, we can actually teach whatever parts of our brain are still working, we can actually reteach those parts to compensate for what was lost. There's a lot of things we're finding out, and that's good news for all of us. And so, what I want to start with is this. How many of you in here speak more than one language? Raise your hand really high. All right. For all of you who speak more than one language, you officially have the strongest brains on the planet as we sit here today. So I'll let that sink in. You can gloat a little bit. Give it a go. Turn around and be like, a little bit to people. So I tell people, just so you know, for everyone in here, I don't have it in here, but I think it's important for us as adults to know this. Adults and everybody in here, we've already done our time as children. There's a new thing called cognitive reserve. It's fairly new what they've been doing research on. Cognitive reserve is like a savings account for your brain. We can all have cognitive reserve. What it is the bigger my cognitive reserve, God forbid if dementia started hitting my brain, it pulls from my cognitive reserve first before it ever even affects me. Multilingual brains, because your brain is basically working out at a gym 24/7 for every day of your life because you're doing everything in different languages simultaneously, you have the biggest cognitive reserve on the planet, which is why your brain actually fights off and can fend off dementia and Alzheimer's 7 years longer than a monolingual brain. You recover from strokes and brain damage quicker with better results than a monolingual brain. Isn't it fascinating? I tell people, everybody in here, by the way, if you want to start teaching your kids a language, birth to age 5 is prime time to teach a language. They just got to be around it and they absorb it like a sponge. Worst time to teach people language? After age 18. And so, there's some cool stuff for you. This is the second strongest brain on the planet. The autistic brain is actually one of the second strongest brains that exists on this planet. That's where my brain research started, was with autism 20 years ago. And I'm going to share some quick stuff about the autistic brain tonight with you so you can kind of look at people with autism through a whole different lens. It is going to freak you out. That brain is absolutely incredible. Problem is, because of how it develops and gets rearranged in early years, those of us who don't understand it can't figure out how to deal with it sometimes. And so I tell people, I'm going to give you some information tonight, but we're going to have a play break first because it's early in the evening. Most of you had lunch. Anybody have dinner? What do you call it? What is it? Supper. Right. I got to get back into Canada mode. I start saying dinner, and they're like, I already had it. And I'm like, no, you haven't. So I got to say supper. All right. So you've all had supper, right? Yeah, which means half of you or your headlights are dimming already because that food is sinking in. It's in the evening. So I'm going to get you up to do something. So we're all going to stand up. We're going to have a play break. What I need you to do is this. I want you to get into groups of 4 or 5 people. Make a circle and look at each other awkwardly till I tell you what to do next. All right. Everybody in a group of 4 or 5 people? 3 is fine. You're good. I'll break the rules for you. You're good. You look like you're nice people, so I'm going to just let you slide. All right. So everybody, there's 3 parts to this. Recess, I'm going to call it. You get recess. First part of the recess is you got to finish the sentence for me. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare. Okay. Now, second part. Raise your right hand. Take your hands and put them in the middle and hook them together for a thumb war with everybody else. Do not start thumb war yet. I will count you down. Just get hooked in. I'm coming around to see if y'all got this. This is impressive. Oh, y'all got to hook in. Everybody. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, I got a cousins in the house. I was like, I thought I recognized you guys. All right, you ready? I'll count you down. First person to pin a thumb wins. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. Go. All right, that's part 2. Here's part 3. Are you ready for part 3? All right, hook back in with your right hands. So get back ready for your right hands. Everybody's got a free hand. Hook in up top with your left hand. You got a 2-layer thumb war. I will count you down. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. Go. All right, recess is over. All right, so all of my parents in here, every activity I show you tonight, we've actually researched that they are strong brain activities. Every time you do thumb war at home with your kids, all you got to do it is for 10 seconds. I'll show you some more strong brain activities as the night goes on. With the strong brain activities, the caveat is your children have to attempt it for at least 10 seconds. If they do it and I could scan their brain, it'd be lit up like a Christmas tree. And we can light the brain up like that. It takes the brain to the gym. It works out your synapses, your neural pathways, and everything else. The more we do it, the stronger my brain. Literally, to take the brain to the gym is fun and it's easy. But we've gotten to a place where we think everything is you got to spend money and it's got to be hard. Because if you're not spending money and it's not difficult, it's not worth it. That is a lie. Simple and easy tends to be the best. And free. I don't know about you all, but I like the word free. Have you hunted out all the restaurants your kids can eat free at? I did. I knew every place in San Antonio. Taco Tuesday was fantastic. So, behavior basics for us parents. I always think about if I could look at all the stuff, you realize I could talk for about 6 hours to teach you all about how the brain actually forms behavior. And then why it forms behavior, what it is we need to do to change behavior. Parents, just so you know, behavior is the hardest thing to change on the planet that exists. So when you're trying to find a quick fix for your kids' behavior, you're probably going to make it worse for yourselves. I always tell people who are selling you I love behavior people in this world. They're selling you the quickest way to get behavior to stop. Yeah, if it's a quick way to get behavior to stop, it's going to be miserable on the back end. Behavior does not change in human beings easy at all. Do you want to know how long it actually takes? Let's say I start with you. You got behavior, I got to change. I'm sure you probably got some, I got some. But I start today. You have to make me face my behavior first. You have to make me understand what behavior it is that I'm doing that is not good for me or others. Have that conversation, and then you start teaching me what you want me to do instead. That's one. The average brain takes 10,000 plus of those interactions just before I start doing it on my own. The average brain. So, well, I've been doing it for a week now. Yep, you got 9,876 more times to go. But I tell people that's just it. Do you want to know the group of human beings whose behavior is the hardest to change on the planet? Nope. Anybody who is 19 years and older. Us. Yeah, come on, adults. You know this for a fact. Don't sit there looking like, oh, I can't believe he said that. Yeah. If you did that face at me, exactly. So here's what I'm going to share with parents. It doesn't matter the age of your kids. It's best that this is starting right from birth. But if you're not at that point, you got kids who are older, I tell parents it just matters that we start doing it. I'm going to share with you how our children's brains are set up for this stuff. And so, one of my favorite quotes I put up here is this one. Children are born into this world looking like their parents, but they leave this world looking like their decisions. They may come in with our genetics and looking like us, but they're not going to leave. They're going to leaving a legacy of what decisions they made through their life. Are we getting them prepped to make the right decisions through their lives? And are they ready to go? And so, one of the things I talk about to people is called the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain. There's lots of ways to talk about this. There's lots of books written on this. There's lots of the thinking brain and the reptile brain, the this brain and the that brain. But for you all, I say the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain. Because you know what our job is as parents? We got to build the stairs to the upstairs brain. Our job as parents is to start building that staircase from the downstairs brain so I can get to the upstairs. The upstairs is where I got to get to have a good life. I have got to get to that upstairs brain and know how to work it the right way for me to have a good life. I can't live in the downstairs brain. Because what we'd look at is the upstairs brain, this is what it looks like. It's the learning, the thinking, the logic, the ability to self-regulate, to keep my emotions where they need to be. It helps me be productive. It helps me do attention. It helps me do all the things I need to be successful in this world and to live a good life. Problem solving, critical thinking. There's so much that the upstairs brain does. Problem is, here's the downstairs brain. The downstairs brain is survival. The downstairs brain is protection. If I feel threatened, downstairs brain kicks in and it does all it can to protect me. Just so you know, the downstairs brain is all about control. I'm going to have to find control somehow. Parents in here, you've probably seen it. When they get upset and they get mad, kids are trying to fight for control with you, correct? It's what they do. It's just part of being a parent, having to deal with this. And so these are all the downstairs brain things. It's always in protection mode. I will tell you, parenting, trauma, my environment, adverse experiences. Some people have heard of this thing called ACEs, adverse child experiences. Yeah, if I've got anything adversive or my brain perceives it as aversive, that gets me real comfortable in that downstairs brain. We don't want them comfortable down there. And so some of the things I put in here for you guys to try to wrap your heads around yourselves is this. As soon as I am born in this world, my downstairs brain is fully furnished, online, and ready to go. However, my upstairs brain is going to take me about the first 25 plus years of my life to get put together. It doesn't happen unless I have my parents and good people around me to help me get my staircase built up there. Just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, ladies, good news for you. Your upstairs brain is usually much fully furnished and ready to go for life. 20 to 23. Guys, we wrecked the curve. It is now shown that the average male brain is about mid-30s. All of you who have sons right now, you're like, why do we have a daughter? So, you got to think about this for a second because parents, guess what? While my downstairs brain is fully functional from birth. My upstairs brain has all these pieces and all these holes that are trying to get filled in for 25 years. The only way that gets filled in and that stairs gets built is I have to have role models that are going to show me how to do this the right way. Which means I need parents who know how to self-regulate and stay calm, even when things are going south. If I have parents who cannot self-regulate and stay calm, you're now teaching my brain to overreact and be reactive, which keeps me where? In the basement. I get to get real comfortable in the basement. And if I grow up being real comfortable in that basement, I'm not going to have a good life. It is going to be absolutely miserable for a lot of us. And this goes especially for a lot of brains. The autistic brain is one of the brains that needs this role model more than anybody else. I'll explain to you in a few minutes why. The autistic brain doesn't need to be skittled and fish crackered to death to do your bidding. It needs to be taught. It needs to be understood, because they will sit in their basement brain more than any other human being on this planet, because their brain is always in protection mode. And I'll explain to you why that is. If you don't teach me how to get out of that protection mode, and you just want me to be quiet, and you find my motivator and flip it in my face every now and then to keep me quiet, I sit in basement mode well into adulthood. And I tell people we got to start looking at things a bit different for a lot of our kids. By the way, congratulations to us. Parenting requires that you have that upstairs brain more than anything else. Parents in here, how many of you keep your cool all the time? Okay, because if you raised your hand, it'd be like, liar. I ask that question, you see some parents, I do, and I'm like, no, you don't. Your wife is next to you going, no, he doesn't. I tell people, I have lost my cool with my children. My daughter was a pro in Walmart. We walk into Walmart, it was like Jekyll and Hyde. That girl falls out in an aisle. I'm like, oh. But parents, here's what I'm going to tell you also. By the way, when you had your children, raise your hand. You got children at home still. They leave eventually, no worries. So, but what I'm getting at is, when you take those kids out into the public world, you realize that when you brought them home from the hospital, when you signed all that paperwork, what they didn't tell you is at the bottom of one of those pieces of paper in tiny, tiny print, it said, your child will embarrass you in public. You realize that is part of our job. Your kids are going to embarrass you in public. Get with it. You know this is going to happen. You're going to be walking church. Oi, church. That is the upper echelon of seeing if they got it together or not. That or Uno. Play Uno first before you go to church. Throw them a pickup 4. If they don't lose their mind, church might be okay today. But I tell people, when you go out, if I'm your son and you take me out to Walmart and I have a walleye fit in the aisle, yeah, because I don't know how to behave here yet. Your job as a parent is to sit there and make sure you teach me how this works in Walmart. If you get scared or embarrassed because you're worried about Joe Public gawking at you thinking you're a terrible parent, it's not going to work. If you're walking into Walmart and sticking a screen in front of my face, I'm going to be your nightmare in about 10 years. And I tell people, it's funny because I remember my daughter, she was a pro at this. We'd walk in Walmart, like it's just got to be Walmart. I don't know what it is, like it's a human circus in that store. I love Walmart for people watching. Is it not the best? I don't know about up here in Canada, but in Texas, I count Crocs and socks every time I go to Walmart. And if you count Crocs, socks, and pajama bottoms, that is the unicorn for that day. It was fantastic. And so my daughter would throw a walleye fit. I still remember the one she had. She was rolling around screaming, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, get it out here now. You're not bringing this home. And it was funny because I would wait them out. I'd try and teach her how to do this, but I'd always have the public, the judgmental public, like, I got so mad one day. One lady's walking by giving me the stink eye, like, oh. I'm like, not your train wreck. Keep walking. Because it isn't. I'm trying to teach my child how to deal with this stuff appropriately. Quit judging me. Parents in here, stop letting other people worry you. Parents who are judging you out in public, number one, are either probably not parents yet, or they screwed it up too. They just gave their kid whatever to get them up off the ground. It's not about that. It's about you're teaching your kid how to do this out in public where they need to learn how to do it.
And it's important because that's how
downstairs brain when you do things like this. You realize that those stairs are built off of a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and time. They're not built off of reward systems and all that other stuff. They are built off of literal blood, sweat, and tears of us taking our time and teaching our kids the right way to do this.
quick ways don't build good stairs. And this is where we got to look at things. And so, relationships, I tell people this, especially birth to age 6, we are relationship dependent, which means I have to have a connection, number 1, with my parents, number 2, family and friends. I build these stairs off of relationships. I tell teachers, when I go teach teachers, I tell teachers, I'll give you a hint about behavior. Children don't work for people they don't like. Children aren't going to work for you if they don't know you don't mean business sometimes, that you're not going to teach me this stuff. Parent, part of our job is to tell them no. No is not a bad word. I always love this world we live in. We can't tell children no. Yes, you can. Watch. No. I tell people, if you refuse to tell your child no, you can't teach them yes, because no and yes are 2 words that have to go together in our world. I'm going to teach you no, because instead of me saying, oh, think about your choices, you might want to make better choices as you're running out into a busy street. The word no might work a little bit better at that time. And then you pull me back and talk to me. Look, the reason I said no is you are about to run out there where there's cars coming. And I tell people it's wild how we've sat there and we've worried about our kids' feelings and we've actually caused a rift in how we're raising our kids. It's okay. I have to know both words. I can't survive just on one. And so those are some things to look at. By the way, when you're talking to your children, you realize those mirror neurons are on
high alert when I'm in trouble. And so I actually process your nonverbal language first. I'm processing your nonverbal expressions, your tone of voice, way before I even process what you're saying to me. Have you ever had your kids, you're like, da 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 da, and you're like, did you hear me? What? Come on now, you've had that, correct? They didn't hear you. They're busy processing your nonverbals. They know you're upset. And it processes quicker. So sometimes I tell parents, I had the look down. Anybody have the look down with their kids? You could just look at it from across the room like, Oh, when you get there, you've made it as a parent, man. I'm telling you. I would mess with my kids sometimes. They'd be like over somewhere, I'd be looking at them like, they'd be like, what? I'm like, nothing. See it if it works. So I tell people this. We got to get better at the human connection rather than trinkets and the toys. This is a hard talk to have in our society right now. We're so geared on buying you things and giving you things for good behavior. You know what they need for good behavior? You. They need time with you. You did good at school today? Come here. Let's go play in the playground. Let's go hang out. Let's play a game together. Let's do stuff together. We have got to get back to this world. And yes, by the way, just so you know, this is where we've gone wrong in the autism world too. They need that human connection almost more than any other group of kids. Rather than just giving me my treats and rewards, you need to spend time with me. Parents in here, if you have a child on the spectrum, do you know the number 1 intervention for your child as we stand and sitting here today? Number 1 intervention for autism as we are sitting in here today is you. And how much time you spend with your child on a daily basis. And therapies that you're getting should be coming to you in your home to teach you how to do it in the home and community. That is literally the number 1 intervention. They need the time and face time with their parents the most. Problem is, the autism world, they're getting sent out to therapies more than anybody else in the world. And they need that parent face more than anybody else. It's interesting what we're finding out through the brain research in this. And so I tell people, I always call it giving me treats to do your tricks. If you're just training your kid to do what they're supposed to do by giving me a treat, you're just training me to do tricks for you. I should know how to do it without you giving me something in front of me. I should know how to do it because it's going to make my mom and dad proud or happy. That's where we got to get to. I tell people, look, I grew up, I had no money for my kids and I. None. They got me. Hey, you know what? You guys did good. Let's go to the park today. And it was funny because 6, 7 years down the road, my kids, I never had to buy them anything. They just wanted, hey, Dad, I did good today at school. Guess what? All right, well, let's go. Let's sit down and play PlayStation together for half an hour. Let's do something with each other. It was interesting to see how my kids would do things because they wanted to make me proud, but I was proud of them also. I would always make a habit of my kids. Hey, I heard you helped the girl on the playground today at school. I'm proud of you. Thank you. That's all I'd say. I'd walk away. I'm not going to, oh my God. Woo, woo. I'm like, no, I'm proud of you. Good work. I like it. And it's interesting how sometimes that's what our kids are needing the most. They're needing us. They're needing not just you, but they need that you see them. You acknowledge them. Acknowledgement and gratitude go a very long way with our kids. Notice me when I do the things that you wanted me to do and give you some gratitude. Hey, you know what? I noticed you helped with the dishes today without being asked. That's beautiful. Awesome. Thank you. And walk away. It really is that easy when you look at it, but we've lived in a world where we're buying them things and giving them things, and you get so many stickers, you get this thing and that thing, and it's like we treat them. I tell parents, have you ever had your kid throw a walleye fit, then you hand them their iPad and they stop? You ever see this? Behavior's off the chain, you give them what they want, they stop their behavior? Yeah, your kid has amazing self-regulation skills. Problem is, you've only taught them to self-regulate to trinkets, not to us. And it's not something, if you use rewards right now and you use this type of system, don't stop because you're here tonight. Please don't. You'll turn your world upside down. No. What I'm going to ask you to do is if you use a lot of rewards with your kids, you still do that type of system, add a little bit of you into it. Just a little bit, minute or two at a time. Hey, I'm proud of you. That's awesome. Thank you. Just try adding you into it a little more. Just give it a go. And so our brains are either in connection mode or protection mode. That is it. Upstairs brain or downstairs brain. That's where your kids are going to sit. I'm giving this to you as basic as I can, so when you're having trouble with your kids, you know they're in protection mode. And when they're in protection mode, I got to steal connection mode from my mom and dad. The only way I can steal connection mode from you is when you're calm. And I'm going to tell you, it is not easy some days, correct? There are days you're like, whoa. So I used to road trip. So if you want to know pain and suffering, I would leave San Antonio every summer after I taught summer school and drive back home to Moose Jaw. That's 42 hours in a car. Not going to lie, might have threatened to leave my son in the ditch a few times in Kansas. Don't judge me. But it is a reality of there's times I had to pull that car over and I had to get out and do my own Chinese fire drill and run around that thing several times. Because I needed to, But I tell people, we adults have to be good at this. We as grown adults need to recognize our triggers, why they trigger us, and how do we start overcoming them ourselves. We can't just keep letting our triggers affect us because then it keeps affecting everything we're doing, not just with our kids, but in life. And so those are some things to think about when it comes to behavior with our kids. Teaching and building that staircase to the upstairs brain is a massive undertaking for us as parents. It is the biggest one you're probably going to do with your kids. That's the part that makes it hard sometimes being a parent. That's where, if you come from a family where you have a partner in the family, tag team it. If you're not having a good day, you had a bad day at work, and your stress is off the charts, be real nice to your partner and say, hey, look, can you just watch the kids for a minute because I got to breathe. Or return the favor when you need to. And so it's interesting when we look at this, and it is absolutely cool how we can do this, but it's about also finding people who can help you too. I had friends next door in San Antonio. Their kids were a hot mess, and they always needed tag teaming. And if I was home, and they're like, can you please go watch our kids? We need a break. For sure. Went over there and hung out with their kids and gave them a break. We do got to have a break. It's not healthy to be around your kid 24/7. You have to have a break too and give yourself a chance to break away. And so those are some things that I just wanted to share real quick, because I try and tell people, what is it that I would have wanted to know more about when I was bringing my kids up? And I'm not going to stand up here and tell you I was a perfect dad. That is not it. But I tell people when I knew better, I did better. And
And I just want to share some of the things to think about as a parent in here. Grandparents, uncles, aunts, whatever capacity you serve with kids, teachers, they are living in that downstairs brain because that's all that's built when they're born. Isn't that a cruel joke? It's like, that's the part of the brain that you built first? And so, what we're going to do this is we're going to have a play break. You ready? I'm going to teach you 3 cool brain activities. These are simple ones to do. Well, simple-ish. And so, I need you all to stand up, please. Where did I put my coffee? Oh, it blends in with the stand. See, I need help. So, all right, so I'm going to teach you 3 quick, strong brain breaks. These are fun to do at home just when you want to have fun with your kids, or they're driving you crazy and you both need to get your brain occupied on something else. So let me take, it's not drinking coffee. Yeah, don't let your kids drink coffee. All right, put your right hand out, point with your index finger. Rotate your index finger clockwise. As you're rotating your index finger clockwise, rotate your wrist counterclockwise. It looks like a proctology exam. All right, you ready? Sorry. Roll your neck in any direction. As you're rolling your neck in that direction, roll your tongue inside your mouth in the opposite direction. Some of you look like you're trying to catch snowflakes, right? So, all right, last one is one of my favorites. If you don't have very good balance, you can use your left hand and use a chair to balance you. But what I want you to do is put your right foot in front of you. Make a circle clockwise on the floor. As you're making that circle clockwise on the floor with your right foot, hold out your right hand. Point with your index finger. Draw a big number 6 in the air. I know. All right, thank you all very much. You can have a seat. That recess is done. All right. So, I'm going to cover a little bit about the autistic brain real quick. This is going to be fairly quick, but it's going to be the stuff that... There's a lot out there in the world of autism right now in brain research. By the way, if you want any of this information and the research that I have, my information's on the last slide. Feel free to shoot me an email or send me a text and just let me know what you need information on. I can send it to you. There's a lot going out, or a lot coming out with autism, and I had to share this with you all on this one. The autistic brain is literally one of the most fascinating brains I've got to study in my career. It is absolutely, seriously cool. I am not going to lie to you. And there's a lot of reasons why. And so I'm going to kind of go over some of the big things with autism. So if your child has an autistic brain, or if you have an autistic brain, do you realize that when autistic brains are born into this world, they're born into this world developing somewhat normal until about 6 to 14 months. Around 6 to 14 months, there's rapid brain growth in the gray matter. Now, when there's rapid brain growth in the gray matter is what's pulling in information from the world as we're developing as children. So, when I have rapid growth in my gray matter, that means my brain is now pulling in way more information than any other brain on the planet. Let that sink in for a second. The more severe the autism, the more rapid the brain growth, the more information that's being pulled in. I tell people, think about it. What I'm actually telling you is this. The autistic brain warehouses and has more information in it than any other brain that walks the planet. So first off, you got to give it respect. Problem is this. In between the 2 hemispheres of our brain is the corpus callosum. It's the white matter, they call it. Its job, while our brain is developing, is to take all that information coming in, set up a filing system so I can find that information in a split second when I need to use it. Processing. Problem is, when my gray matter grows that rapidly, my corpus callosum cannot keep up, so it just starts throwing things everywhere. Have you ever seen the show Hoarders? It's the best analogy I can give you to an autistic brain.
On the show Hoarders, think about it. I saw your house, you're a hoarder. I saw you had a red pen in there, so go get me the red pen. That's similar to you telling someone with autism, hey, what's your name? Go get this. I got to go through that mess and sort through it. I know it's in there, but I got to go find it. Because it just got thrown everywhere. I have no filing system. Think about it. That is a lot of information. That autistic brain has more in it than any other brain on the block. Think of it as now is, how do we tap into it? You see, I have people who have autism who found their niche and found it because their parents and people around them took the time to try and figure out where everything is, giving them the time to do it. Time is of the essence with autism. Not quick time, it's going to take a while. And so I tell people it's fascinating what we've learned. There's more rapid growth around 2 years old. One of the things that explains this is social skills. You ever hear this? Oh my God, children with autism need social skills. Not necessarily. I got the ability to have social skills, but what happened with the information when I learned social skills? Well, we now know because social skills has to happen from several parts of the brain, it's inevitable my social skills are going to get kind of jacked up with autism. What we now know is on average, with an autistic brain, social skills are delayed anywhere from 20 seconds to 2 minutes. So what that means is this. Hi, how are you? Good. See, that interaction between her and I literally takes 50 to 80 processes in our brain for us to pull off saying hi to each other. I have mild autism. What if each one of those processes now takes 20 seconds each? See, the baby agrees. The baby's listening. Hey! That's awesome. So that I've never had happen. That's a first. Yeah, well, the 3-month-old agreed, so that's great. But now think about it. Now I have a more severe case of autism. Now my social skills are delayed 2 minutes. Her and I saying hi, those 50 processes, now take 2 minutes each. That's 100 minutes for me to figure out how to say hi. But I have a human brain that desperately wants to be social, and I desperately want to be social, but it takes 100 minutes just to pull off saying hi. What happens with all humans, every human being, when something is so god-awful hard and I don't get the assistance with it, what do we end up doing? Give up. We quit. So usually by the time I'm 3, 4, or 5, I had enough struggles with it, quit. And you know why I don't look you in the eye? Because looking someone in the eye means I want to talk to you. I don't want that. It frustrates me. And looking a human being in the eye is the quickest way to raise your anxiety like that. I already got enough anxiety. Because here's something else you need to know about the autistic brain. The autistic brain is born in this world at a mental health level of anxiety as their baseline. So think about that. If I'm born in this world and my anxiety as an infant is already at a mental health level, if I don't have help getting that anxiety down, I start producing what we call trauma responses. You see, what I'm going to tell you tonight, you probably may or may not have heard. Autism is now viewed in the brain world as a trauma disability. You're dealing with trauma responses from our kids. Do you realize that children on the spectrum are the most susceptible to PTSD by age 5 than anyone else on the planet? I have teachers in here. You've seen kids with autism come into your school at age 5 or 6, rolling on the floor, melting down as we call it, screaming and hollering. Yeah, it's a PTSD response for some of them. It's trauma. It puts a whole new spin on it. This is where I tell parents, I tell teachers, I tell anyone working with people with autism, get training in trauma-informed care. Get training in mental health first aid. Get that training. That's better training to have when you're working with autism. You need that. Their brain is on trauma response. Knowing how to deal with trauma actually elicits better outcomes for our kids on the spectrum. The worst way to treat a trauma brain is take away my agency and control in my life, which means you control everything I do. You actually increase my trauma. And think about all the programming we have around kids with autism. The United States is the worst in the world. Every program that they say is research-based and evidence-based is how well we can control you and make you comply. So then I get to be older, I get to go out there. It's only why less than 6% of people with autism in the United States hold a job. I don't have the skill set. You've been trying to control me and make me comply, not treat the trauma responses I'm having in life. And so thinking about that is a whole different look for us. And so I put that information in here. We do a lot of the giving the treats to do their tricks in autism. That's one of the main ways we've done it for 50 years. And I tell people, there's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there in autism. We monetized autism 20 years ago. As soon as we monetized it and people made a whole boatload of money off of it, we've had bad practices ever since. Because I'll keep your world burning for you to keep them coming back to my therapy. I guarantee you. It's easy to do. If your child's been in a certain type of therapy for behavior for more than a year and you don't see any change, it's probably not working. I've had kids who've been in it for 12 years, 10 years. They're still in the same therapy. It's not working. I'm being honest, I'm done. I'm done watching parents go broke. I'm done watching this go around in a circle. We need better help for our kids on the spectrum. End of story. We now know the mental health issues are there. We now know the trauma issues are there. That's a whole different perspective to start looking at for our kids. They deserve to have better outcomes. They deserve to have that ability to have a fighting chance with it. And so those are some things to look at with what we're doing. Better knowledge equals better interventions. I'm going to talk to you about some of the top interventions. Parents, you're number one. We already know this. Their peers are number two. The more they're around their peers, the better their outcomes are going to be. I tell people in the United States they have a nasty habit of taking kids with autism, putting them all into one room. That's like doing AA in a bar. Where are my role models? How am I supposed to know how to act and react when I'm just around the people with the same issues as I got? If I'm an 8-year-old boy, who do I need to have a lot of access to? Other 8-year-old boys. And yes, I need to go out on the playground and watch my 8-year-old friends get into trouble for throwing rocks. I got to see that too. I don't just get to see the good. I got to see what they do wrong because I learn as much about that too. Oh yeah, you got in trouble for picking up a rock and throwing it. Either A, they're going to learn I don't do that, or B, I'm going to be sneakier than him and not get caught. Come on, there's people in this room. You did that. You got that one friend. You go ask. You go do that. Go do that. And just go do it. You always had that one friend, did you not? That you always sent out, and you're like watching to see what happens and the adult reactions to it. See? I tell people on the spectrum, just do it better. Oh, they're pros at that one. And so I have that. What I'm going to show you tonight are the other two that are getting a lot of research time and a lot of time and a lot of positive outcomes for autism. And that would be exercise and play. Exercise and play are absolutely incredible for our kids on the spectrum. I gave you the kind of the down and dirty for these. I have a ton of information on this, all the new research out there. Here's what exercise is doing for kids on the spectrum and people on the spectrum. Even adults are going through some of this stuff. Increased communication, social skills. It actually decreases those repetitive behaviors. I have those repetitive behaviors because my system is so stressed out. Think about it like a pressure cooker. We all have a valve. We push it, the pressure gets released, however we release our pressure, and we can function some more. People with autism don't have a very good valve, and it builds, and it builds, and if you don't teach me a way to get that released, I will start rocking, stimming, other behaviors that you may not like, because I got to have a way to get it out. We all as human beings have to release it somehow. And if I don't have a way to release it and no one's taught me a way that works for me, I just go and I'm off the deep end every single time that stress hits me the wrong way. Find my pressure valve. We all have one. Some of you go running. Some of you knit. God bless you if you do. I think I had one lady knit me a whole sweater during one training. I'm like, did I really stress you out that bad? So there's all these things we're seeing from exercise that alleviates. Exercise is the quickest way to actually give that pressure valve a bit of a squeeze and a release. I tell people what we found out through the research is students with autism, ADD, ADHD, trauma, already have behavior issues in school and struggle academically, they should actually have recess 3 times more than anybody else in the school. Problem is, they're the ones that, what happens? They get it taken away. And then my favorite is the teacher who makes them stand next to them during recess. I'm like, he's been grinding on your last nerve all day long, and you want him to keep standing there? No! For my educators in here, I'm going to teach you the trick I learned teaching pre-K and K, because you got to learn tricks teaching pre-K and K. I tell everybody, at age 3, they're all autistic. Get over it. Holy Lord, 3, you can't fix 3. 3 is the hot mess. But I'm telling you what, if you were my student and you were grinding on my nerves and you were driving me nuts, man, recess is our 15-minute divorce. You go your way, I will go mine. Like, I don't need to see you. Go play. Get out of my face. We'll try and reconcile in 15 minutes. We may need a half hour. But I tell people, that's how none of my kids ever missed recess when I was a teacher, because if you were driving me nuts, not doing anything in my class, woo, we needed a divorce. Like, we had to go. And so it was interesting. So best activities that were found, take a look at this one. Peer-mediated activities. Exercise with their peers was found to be one of the best. The second best, take a look at it. Family exercise. Me exercising at home with my mom and dad. I love to be in a country where I can say mom and I don't get a side glance from everybody. They're like, Mom, is he speaking English? Because in there it's mom. So, sports and sports drills. Oh, and by the way, number one activity to lower their stress for both ADD, ADHD, and autism is martial arts. We've known it for a long time for ADD. It is now in the books for autism. Martial arts. Karate, Taekwondo, Tai Chi, whatever it is. There's like, ooh, they're going to hurt somebody. No. See, I love martial arts because what else do they teach along with the self-control and discipline, which is what their brain craves. It's fantastic. Now my favorite, play therapy. Play interventions in the home. We are seeing such a huge amount of increase in our kids with autism when we incorporate play and play therapy. There's all the things that we've got from play, but here's the part that surprised all of us with the research just last year. When we go into the home and teach parents how to play with their kids, and when I did in-home training, I was an in-home trainer, which meant I went into parents' homes, worked with you and your kiddo at home and your family. We got you to get them out in the community. We'd take you out, teach you how to get your kid to Walmart, to the movies, to wherever you wanted to go, so you weren't stuck in your home all the time. And we taught you how to do things in your home and in the community. The one thing we always ended with was playing a game with you and your kids. Card games, whatever, going outside kicking a soccer ball, playing something. Here's what we now know 20-some years later. When we teach parents play-based interventions, it isn't just great for the kids, but take a look. Parents are now experiencing better connectedness with their kids, and it's also decreasing their rates of anxiety and depression. It's parent outcomes on this one. As a parent, that's huge. And so there's some cool stuff I wanted to give to you tonight about autism. It's some of the new stuff. So then we go into, well, what can we do as parents of anybody? What is it we do to help our kids' brains, no matter what our kids are labeled as or whatever else they have? And so we're going to end off this last part. Wait, what time have I got to stop? 8:30. Okay. Y'all just throw something or get up and leave. That'll give me a signal. I'll probably still talk, but it's okay. So it's good timing and simple things we can do as parents. Are you ready? First thing. Please, before I start this, I need you to understand something. I love technology. I love technology. Technology literally could have been the greatest thing for our children that we've ever invented. Problem is what? We've all abused it, even our schools to an extent. And so I tell people we got to start unplugging our kids from the technology and plugging them back into the world. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little bit of fun because you've been sitting long enough. And so instead of recess this time, I'm going to play some music. While the music is playing, you're going to get up and just walk around, stretch your legs, say hi to people you know because it's Swift Current. You know everybody. I didn't realize you're only like 17,000. I thought you guys were bigger. Come on, you're supposed to be bigger than Moose Jaw one day. Let's go. So, I tell people, you're going to walk around. When the music stops, find 3 or 4 people next to you. Look at the screen. Decide if what's on the screen is true or false. All right? And then I'll ask you. So you ready? All right, I got to turn my stuff on, so get up, stretch your legs. Oh, his battery's dead? I've been screaming, so I don't know. Oh, I turned it off.
You got okay.
Yeah, I got it. All right, let me get some music going. Just right there, up there is fine. Yeah, thank you. All right, walk around. Just walk around, stretch your legs. All right, music has stopped. Find some friends. Now, if you're like every other adult I do this activity with, you're just going to follow your same friends around the room, whatever. So, here's what I need. On the screen, I will read it for those of you in the back who are short like me and can't see over other people. True or false, screen time is more addictive than some illegal drugs. You are correct. We now know screen time is actually as addictive as cocaine and heroin. Wow is right. And it's a tough one. I tell people the thing about screen addiction that we got to be aware of is screen addiction is not a substance addiction. It's a psychological addiction. Substance addictions are easier to kick. So there's something we got to think about. Please, parents, understand. All I had was a VCR. I was fortunate my kids grew up right behind that tech curve. I'm going to tell you, I'm fortunate. You guys got a battle on your hands right now with your kids. Parents, I'm going to share a secret with you. Are you ready? It's what we found out through research to be the best way to handle screen time in your homes. You got kids that are addicted already, odds are. Here's what I'm going to tell you. There's a new rule in your house. For every minute they're on their screens or their technology, they owe you 1 minute outside. And here's what I tell people. If you want to go binge your video game for 3 hours, once it shuts off, it doesn't come back on until you've been 3 hours outside. You then turn it over to your kids. Well, I don't want to go outside for 3 hours. Yeah, but you chose to do 3 hours. That's on you. So do your 3 hours outside. If you don't want to be outside that much, the next time, be aware of how much time you're spending on your technology. You see, parents, we turn it over to them and give them the responsibility of trying to get it managed themselves. They will start regulating it quicker than you think. And it takes it off of you. You're not always the bad person. Because you could turn it back on them, but you played your video game for 5 hours yesterday. It doesn't come back out or get turned back on. And I take cords. I was the parent. My son ended up having an Xbox, the Wii, which is the most ridiculous video game on the planet, and all those things. And if he wanted to binge his game for 6 hours, he found out his cords disappeared from the TV until he spent 6 hours outside. Oh, we're getting to that one. Parents, it's also us. Oh, yeah. Parents, don't think you're off the hook on this one. So, all right, I'm going to play some more music. You guys keep dancing around, and we'll look at the next one. Oh, here's a good one. This is a great one. You ready?
You can dance every dance with the guy who gives you the eye, let him hold you tight. You can smile every smile for the man who held your hand beneath the pale light. But don't forget to take you home, and in his arms you're gonna be.
All right, everybody, find some friends, probably the same ones you had before. True or false? Here we go. Some screen time is fine to use before age 3. True or false? That is false. Do you realize now France, Norway, Sweden, And a couple of other countries have been doing their research, and they're saying before the age of 6, no screen time. Do you realize, especially before the age of 3, that even a second or two in front of a screen can rewire some neural pathways? We just don't know the extent it is for some kids. And so I'm just saying, I get it's hard. Please understand. I know I get the side eye look from some people on this one, but they need you, not a screen, especially at up to age 3. When they have 1 million new neural connections going on every second, they're needing you to help where those pathways are going and what they're doing. Screens don't do it for them at all. Baby Einstein, garbage. Whatever other people you're listening to on YouTube, done. I love how we watch these videos. No. I hate to break it to you, I'm sorry. Even Sesame Street, we now know, kind of caused some damage for some of us back in the day. It's just because Elmo was weird. It did that, so. All right, so here's some more music. Enjoy it, keep walking. I'll tell you why I got music as soon as we're done here.
So darling, say the last dance for me. Oh, I know that the music's fine, like sparkling wine.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, since I am running out of time tonight, I'm going to go through these fairly quick. Here's your next one. You ready? Children believe everything they see on a screen as real until around age 7. Oh, that is true. Parents in here, please understand what this means. If your child is on a screen up until age 7 and you are not sitting with them and co-viewing what they're watching, they will believe everything that is on that screen, even if it's a cartoon. By the way, that reality clears them into adulthood. In the United States, we've had the greatest number of children with a lack of adult supervision with screens of any other nation on the planet. We're being studied by other countries for what's being called the sheeple syndrome. Sheeple. That means you see something on TV, you automatically believe it. And here's what we call it too. It's called enrage to engage. The more that person or thing on that TV enrages me, the more I get into it, and I can't distinguish between fact or fiction. And I believe what I see and hear. If you don't believe me, come with me down to Texas for about 10 minutes. You'll be like, what is happening?
That explains American politics.
That explains a lot of things in America at this point. So, here's your next one. I'm just going to show it to you and read it because I want to finish up with you all today. Many adults are addicted to their technology also. This is true. It is hard to change children's technology problems when the adults are addicted to it also. So parents, everybody in here, you can come on back to your seats because I'm going to show you a couple of interesting things about our technology that I just want you to be aware of. All right. Also up on the screen, this is a true statement. Parents, take a look. This is what we need to really focus in on. Children's use of technology is the number one reason behaviors have increased and learning and academics have decreased. This is absolutely true. Have you heard of Sweden, what they're doing? Read up on Sweden. They pretty much ditched technology out of their schools altogether. They realized that the amount of technology they started putting into their schools was the main reason why academics was on the decline and behaviors were on the incline. They took it out. There's no more technology in their classrooms. They're back in labs where they should be so we can teach it like a tool. Because I work with high school kids who still don't know how to send an email, do a Word document, do a spreadsheet. They can't, but they can look up something on YouTube. Do you realize that our children, as we sit here today, have more technology around them than any other generation in our lifetime, but they're also the dumbest with it? They don't know how to use it as a tool. They use it as a time suck. They use it to occupy that brain. Parents, your child has to be bored. Boredom is actually the foundation for creativity. If your child says, I'm bored, good luck. Literally, that's all you need to say. Good luck to you. It's about building the creative thinking in our society. Here's something to think about as we end off with technology. Those mirror neurons and technology. Parents, this just came out a couple weeks ago. I got this article sent to me from friends overseas. They finished the research on this. Remember I told you about those mirror neurons, how they're watching you and they're mimicking you, and that's how they start developing themselves? Yeah, they're also developing their technology habits. The mirror neurons, if my mom and dad have their technology out a lot and are sitting on their technology, even though you've never bought me technology, watching you use it, my mirror neurons create the habit in my brain. Parents, there's something to think about. They watch you using it, and even though I don't have my own cell phone, if my mom always has her cell phone or my dad always has their cell phone out, you actually create the habit in my brain just by me watching you. So when I get mine, I already have a bad habit with it. Isn't that wild? Again, I'm glad we didn't have technology when my kids are around. So here's something else, and this goes to social media, which is probably the worst thing that's ever happened in our society. Social media, unless you pay for it, unless you're paying for the product, you are the product. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all of them, you're their product. That's it. They're using you. They've actually already used you within 3 uses. You download the Facebook app, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever else we got. Within the first 3 uses, the programming in that downloaded app predicts your addictive qualities and starts getting you addicted after 3 tries. So you see, the people who make those apps know more about brain research than most of us do. And they've had us addicted for a while. It's interesting. Parents in here, if you have adolescents, please keep them away from social media. I am not going to lie on this one. Social media, please be aware of what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why they're doing it on social media. I tell people, we are dealing with suicide is now the second leading cause of death in children from 9 to 19. And social media is one of the biggest issues for that. Our kids don't have enough self-worth to be on social media. Because you realize the only way I get bullied is I don't have the self-worth, and I allow people to tell me what I should be or shouldn't be, and that's how I get bullied. People who know who they are, know their weaknesses, and know their strengths. Yes, tell your kids their weaknesses. Tell them, hey, I know you're not good at this. If you want to get better, here's what we do. If not, it's just something you're not going to be good at. What's the big deal? You see, because when someone bugs me because I can't play basketball, yeah, no kidding, genius, I'm 5'3". Like seriously, it doesn't bother me. But yet that will turn someone else inside out and upside down. If I have not been taught my self-worth fully, I get bullied. Because whatever someone else is saying can only affect us if we let it. You realize that's how that works. And it's affecting me because of something. Parents, bullying's affecting some of your kids because of why. That's the talk we got to start having with our kids. You're getting bullied. They're saying this. Why is it? Why are you letting that bother you? What is it that they say? Why does that bother you so much? And start talking to your kids. Because it happens to everybody. We all at one time or another tend to get bullied because they find something that just gets it. And we haven't been dealt with it. We haven't talked about it. We haven't been taught how to be okay with it sometimes. And if I'm okay with who I am, good luck bullying me because I really don't care. And it is. And then there's online bullying. I tell parents, please, people think I'm horrible. Turn it off. There's a power button. But the thing is, the addiction kicks in. And then we're in trouble. And so there's a lot to look at with technology. Please, parents, I know it's hard, but try just even, hey, for every minute you're on your device, you owe us a minute outside. I say outside because it resets their systems way faster. Once your kid's been on technology for about 10 minutes, it takes, on average, their brain about an hour to get back to a baseline. You go outside, you can knock that in half to about 30 minutes. So that's why I say get them outside at all cost. We'll do a play break to end it off, but here's my next one, play. Oh my goodness, you need to play with your kids. Let your kids play, 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 play. If they're addicted to screens, here's a trick. Turn the TV on, but they got to play with something while the TV is on. There's your new rule. I had that with some kids I was helping with in-home training. Highly addicted to their screens. Would not look away. You can have this on, but now you're going to build with Legos. Now you're going to build with blocks. Now you're going to play with your cars. And they will play while that screen is on, and eventually it's easier than you think. It's easy to pull them away from it once they get into what they play. It's fascinating. But parents, play games, board games. Play rewires our brain. It is one of the quickest ways. Playing is actually the number one thing that builds and develops human brains from birth to age 6. And then from 6 to 19, it is the number one thing that makes our brains stronger and more malleable. It's called neuroplasticity. From 19 till the day we die, play is one of the number one things that keeps our brains maintained through our lifetime. Play is so important at every level of our life, it is absolutely insane. But we don't play anymore. We're losing that knack of playing. A good game of kick the can. Anybody? I remember I told a bunch of kids one time, go play kick the can. Why do we want to kick a can? Never mind. And I tell parents too, the more your child plays, it is now actually research to the teeth. It is one of the best interventions for increasing my learning and academic outcomes and creating a place where I can actually manage my emotions the best. The more I play, the better my academic outcomes are going to be. Not just behavior, like I said earlier, but also academics. And so you want that kiddo to get good grades, let them play. Let them play a lot. Nature is next. We need to get our kids outside. Outside. For kids birth to about age 19, you realize it's about 3.5 hours per day minimum for brain development and brain strengthening. For us as adults, 19 years and older, 1.5 hours is our minimum for brain maintenance. Now, you guys here in Canada do way better than the United States. The United States has got some of the worst outcomes for being outside in nature of all countries in the world. Children in the United States are actually indoors 95% of their day on average. They only get outside about 50 minutes per day. There's a big problem. There's also something about being outside that you need to be aware of. It's called vitamin D. You can take as many supplements as you want. Nothing is going to make up for getting vitamin D directly from that sun. Our body processes it differently, and it processes it at a better degree, and it takes 20 minutes of vitamin D from a sun. You can take all the supplements in the world. And I tell people, also parents, ADD, ADHD, ever hear of it? Research is out there. 20 minutes, if I have ADD, ADHD, 20 minutes of vigorous outside play is equivalent to me taking my pharmaceutical drug. It's awesome. So, nature is awesome for sensory regulation. It is also, anxiety and depression. You realize when you leave here today, after we get to go home finally for the day, as soon as you step outside those doors, as soon as your brain and body register you're outside, your anxiety, everybody's, will lower minimum 10% just by stepping outside. The more you're out in nature, the more you're around nature, hugging a tree, barefoot in the grass, your anxiety will lower exponentially until it goes away. Nature is the only thing on the planet that actually takes anxiety out of the human being system. Pharmaceutical drugs do not. Pharmaceutical drugs just take the edge off. Problem is, a lot of people I work with who have anxiety issues and depression issues, they take their pharmaceutical, but where do they tend to stay the most? Inside. Yes, barefoot in the grass, touching plants, hugging a tree, you actually exchange molecules with living plants. It's not the hokey tree hugger stuff, it's called science. And so I tell people it's fascinating. ADD, ADHD, I just let you know about it. Vitamin D we talked about. 3.5 hours for your kids, 1.5 hours for us. But if you want to stay up for 3.5 hours, it's extra good for your brain as a growing adult. So, here's what we're going to do. I want to cover this before we leave. Usually parents, you're talked about reading. Read more and more. Read another book. All right? You hear about reading all the time. Yes, you better be reading to your kids. You realize that. The more you read to them, the more you surround them by books, the better they're going to be as readers when they get to school. You are the number one thing that dictates whether they're going to be good readers once they hit school or not.
Do you realize that if we don't do what we're supposed to do with our kids, some of the things we have to do as parents before age 5 and they hit that kindergarten school door, if we don't do it right, it can take schools up to 10 years to compensate for it. There's something to think about. A lot of people blame schools for things. Hate to break it to you. There are some things that we need a lot more years to fix some things. And I'm just being honest. That's what it is. I taught pre-K and K. I taught in the poorest part of the United States. They came in with nothing because of their environment. They're not going to be reading anytime soon because we got other things like actually having a conversation with another human being. Actually talking and having conversation with other human beings. Being around other human beings without, making a shank out of a ruler and trying to attack you with it. Oh, he was 4. He was able to make one. It's fine. So I tell parents this. We got to get back to this one. Handwriting actually uses some of the same neural pathways as reading and literacy. They share some of the exact same pathways. So if I'm a struggling reader, give me handwriting activities. You're actually working out some of the exact same neural pathways that are going to help me be a good reader. Parents at home for handwriting, no, please stop making them just copy things over and over again. You're going to make me hate reading or writing. I don't want to write anymore if that's what I do. So parents, for us at home, here's all the 5 reasons why we do handwriting and all the good things it does, but here's what I want to share with you before I leave you today. Ideas for home. Play-Doh, Play-Doh, Play-Doh. Use as much Play-Doh as you can to strengthen those hands and get them ready. I'm working with high school kids who hold a pen like it's a Psycho movie. There's no reason why someone in high school has not been taught how to hold a pen yet. There's been a lot of adults that have not done what they should have done. What I tell people is it's important. We teach them too at home. Play-Doh builds up the dexterity and the muscles in my fingers so I can do it the right way. Do you know another good thing too is before you make me write or draw anything, make me squeeze a tennis ball or a stress ball about 10 times. And then let me write. It gets all the muscles ready to go and makes writing easier so I don't fatigue quicker. And so, coloring. Oh my God, color books. Yes. Parents, color with them. It's good for you. Especially if you probably shouldn't say this, but I got the Swearwood color book. Oh, it's the greatest thing ever. Drawing and doodling are as important as being able to write letters. Parents, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not how neat they do it, it's that they do it. I don't care about writing. If I'm in high school and I'm writing all over, you got little ones at home, scribbling. Let them scribble. Let them do all kinds of things. Once you see your kids just on blank paper, naturally kind of straightening out, give me 1 line to write on. You see what happens is we start sticking kids who don't know how to handwrite or write properly with borders and lines right away. Now my brain is more concerned about the boundaries than it is about forming any letters or lines. And then you cause a hiccup in my writing. When I taught pre-K and K, it was always blank paper. Once I noticed them kind of straightening things out and getting naturally in their own straight line, you got 1 line on a page, and then they tried to stay on that line. That was it. Because you stick those lines in front of me too soon, my brain switches to having to stay in those parameters, and it stresses my brain out, raises my anxiety. I don't like to write. And so, some things we can do at home. Chalk, crayons, markers, pens. Look at the bottom one. Parents, look at the bottom one. Doing dishes is the greatest chore on the planet to help with handwriting. Picking up utensils out of the thing. Being able to balance plates in my hands and fingers. Doing dishes is phenomenal for handwriting. You're welcome. See? You get a report back from your kid's teacher saying he needs to work on handwriting. Your dishes are covered for the next 2 years. And if your kid's like, why do I got to do dishes? Intervention, son. I got you. Now I'll tell parents, writing with a pen and then having them switch to pencil, that switch in friction, that little tiny switch in friction, actually creates new neural pathways in the brain. Just that little difference will start creating new neural pathways. It's phenomenal. Chalk, as much as you can. Markers, chalk, paint, crayons, pencils, pens, everything you can get and have at it. Drawing, doodling, coloring, you got to start there. And so it's fascinating what we've found out with handwriting. We don't have time for the squiggle. I'm going to end off. I'm going to go really, really, really fast. Being a role model. These are just some pointers and some tips with research. We talked about mirror neurons. Here's what I want to challenge everyone to do. Spend minimum 20 minutes a day with your child doing what they want to do, not technology. Just 20 minutes, nothing else. You and your child doing what they want to do and hang out. We got to get back to this. Get that connection back. The next one is chores and jobs are amazing for self-esteem and self-confidence. And remember, doing dishes is good for handwriting. See? Parents in here are like, yes. And even if your kid's got neat handwriting, you got to work on it. Do the dishes. So, here's something, parents, that might hit home for some people. Doing too much for your child increases your self-esteem, but it steals theirs. Stop doing everything for your kids. Stop doing all that stuff for your kids. They got to do some things on their own. The more you keep doing for your kids, it increases your self-esteem. It's making you feel better, but you're stealing theirs away from them. Because what this leads to is, entitlement. When you do too much for me, I become an entitled child. Entitled people are never happy. They aren't. You can't live a happy life being entitled your whole life because you're relying too much on everybody else. You don't get to be happy. And I tell parents, if you're always scurrying around to make them happy, you're actually causing the opposite effect. Sometimes I have to struggle. Sometimes I got to fail. I have to fail. If I'm going to be a good human being in this life, I have to fail. I have to struggle. As a parent, you don't stop it. You stand next to me and teach me how to get back up. That's our job as a parent. When our kids fall and our kids mess it up, we stand next to them and we teach them how to get up. I'm not picking you up. I'm going to teach you how to get up. That's what we do. Teach me how to do this. Teach me how to get back up in life when things get tough. Make me own my problems and fix my mistakes. I tell people I was really good at behavior at every level I taught, and I still am. That's what I do for the state of Texas is behavior. I go all over the state working with the toughest kids Texas has. If you're my kiddo and you ended up popping off somebody and punching somebody and wreaking havoc in a school, when the dust settles, you and I are talking, I'm going to make you own your garbage. You see, the number one consequence for human beings is you make me own my issues. You see, what we tend to do is push our kids away, go to your room, go here. Well, I don't have to own my issues. I can skirt by it. Adults in here, some of us gone to therapy. Why? Because we didn't own our issues, and we needed someone to make us own them. And we hate it. We do not like it. That's the number one consequence for all human beings, making me own my issues, and then making me fix it. You see, because all of my kids I've ever worked with and still work with, once I figured out the damage you've done to other people, once we've got everything covered, your job now is you're going to go fix this with everybody you harmed. And I will make sure you fix it with everybody you harmed. And you will own it. Parents, our kids have got to own their mistakes. If I've done something wrong to somebody, you make me own it. You make me fix it. That's how we get that thing about just quit, say you're sorry. Oh, sorry. It's like you can't do that. I said I'm sorry. I tell people I don't own it. And so those are things we got to work on, and the sooner we do it when they're little, the better off we are. Praising effort is so much better than praising talent. Quickest way to get my grades to increase if I'm doing well, praise my effort, not my grades. Stop paying me for A's. Praise me for my effort. Because you know what? Math may not be my forte, but I'm doing the best I can, and I'm trying the hardest I can, and I'm giving it all. Praise the effort rather than my grades. Sometimes it doesn't work out, I get an A. I might pull a B or a C. I might have got a D or two in my life, too. I tell people, it's funny. You guys know as well as I do. How many of you get asked about your GPAs and your grade average every time you walk into work? What? You were a C student? You shouldn't be working here. I mean, like, no one cares. I tell people, what I did is I got out. And I did what I needed to do to get out. I got a diploma, I got this. And parents, by the way, colleges are looking more at service rather than grades right now. What service have you provided? What community service have you done? What things have you done to make the world a better place? And there's a lot of scholarships being handed out for that one. Something to check into. And so just things to think about as we are going out in the world. I'll leave you with this one. A parent's job isn't to raise a child who never fails. It's to raise one who knows how to pick themselves up every time they do. As we end tonight, and I am done, I appreciate everything. I appreciate this many people showing up at Swift Current. This is fantastic. Thank you all for being a great audience. It's always fun to be back home to the province that raised me. That's why I come back and do what I can, because I got to give back to the place that brought me up the right way. Saskatchewan was a great place to be born and raised. It's a place that I still call home. Texas is not home, it's just where I work. And I actually say that out loud. Texas is not my home. Saskatchewan's my home. I just happen to work in Texas. And so with that, I'm going to share with you my favorite quote as a grown adult, because as a parent still of a 31 and a 30-year-old, first off, the fact they're that old freaks me out. Maybe I was 10 when I had them, yes. No. But I'm going to leave you with a quote that as a parent just brings me a smile every time I read it. So this one is for you, parents. Are you ready? Y'all have a great night. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Lane, for coming. This has been such a treat to have you come up to Swift Current, just down the road from Moose Jaw.
Yeah, it's not that far.
And so as a thank you, here's a
Thank
few
you.
things that you can share
Awesome.
with your family
Coffee.
before you head back to Texas, not home.
Badlands coffee.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.